What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Lando and C show. Woo! Lots of playoff basketball going on here. Hopefully, you guys caught the first video we made of the first series that ended in NBA playoffs, which was the Boston Celtics sweeping the Brooklyn Nets. In this video, sees we got three series to cover.
Yeah, two of them ended tonight, and
A
then
lot
one
happened.
yesterday.
A lot happened, yeah. So, first up, we're gonna go ahead the ending of the series on Tuesday. April 26th was the Heat finally closing out the Hawks in 5 games. And they beat them by 3 points, 97-94. Just a great defensive showing, the whole series by the Heat, right? Right, C's? I mean,
I would just say, yeah, they had a few guys from the bench. I don't know their names, but a few short guys. They had Kyle on him. Bam would switch on him, and Bam had a bio, man. I mean, I was never really high on him, but that dude is just a Swiss Army knife. He's great defensively and offensively. He can get you at least 18. And it was just a great all around team effort by the Heat. And they didn't even have Jimmy Butler or Kyle Lowry to close out that series, and they still won by a good margin. So this Miami Heat team is loaded. They have a deep bench. They got Victor Oladipo, who's playing back to his old self again off the bench, and then you still got Tyler Hero, who's the sixth man this year, and Duncan Robinson, and we've already mentioned Butler, Lowry, and Bam, and then PJ Tucker too. So
yeah.
this team, whoever they see in the second round, they're definitely my favorite to win.
The Heat look great. Their defense, like you said, just astronomical. It really shows what a true team defense can do to a team, even a team that was hot, like the Hawks were. Even a player like Trae Young, who is hot over the course.
Not in this series.
Not in this series, though. I got his stats here. 2 games out of the 5, he had single-digit points, and that includes the first game and the fourth game. And then the closing game, he only had 11. He averaged, he averaged over 6 turnovers a game. He had 2 games where he didn't make a single three-pointer with over 5 attempts, and he never made more than 3 3-pointers. The highest out of all 5 games, he made 3 3-pointers. He was 3 for 10, and just the defense was too much for him. It was just too much, and they need to figure out something to help him out, because if you're getting triple teamed, you should be able to pass the ball to somebody, and somebody should be able to score for you. That means there's 2 people that are open, and these are NBA caliber players. He should have more than 6 assists per game on average. If you're getting double teamed, if you're getting triple teamed every single time down the court, you're going to have turnovers, of course, like he did. You're going to average a lot of turnovers, but you should also average a good amount of assists. And the pressure got to him.
I wouldn't, I would say the pressure got to him, but he was guarded by 2 or 3 people. And I just feel like, after this, they got lucky last year. They drew the Knicks, and then a Philly team who had scared shitless Ben Simmons, who still hasn't played yet.
Yeah,
he's taken a 2-year hiatus after that, or a whole year and a half. I don't know, a full year of walking away from the Heat, and they drew the Bucks, and I'm pretty sure they lost in like 5 or 6 games, and it was a very tough series for Trae to keep up with. But Trae's gonna need more help out there. You got John Collins, making over like 25 or 20 million a year, and I think in the last game he put up like maybe 6 points, That's not going to help. And then Clint Capella was injured and only had around 2 points, so he couldn't really do much. He was clearly, compromised on what he could do out there on the court. And you need more from guys like Kevin Huerter and DeAndre Hunter. I think that was the biggest bright side of Atlanta's 5 games is how well he played. But other than that, you have your foundation with Trey. You got to surround him with guys that are gonna, step up in moments and create their own shots too. Because it's easy to game plan for one guy and contain him, and the whole offense is shut off. It's offset. He had a whole total of in this entire series 30 assists to 30 turnovers, so he offset it himself. So and then it's not going to cut it in playoff basketball. So tough series for the Hawks. They're definitely going to have to make some moves, figure out what they want to do with John Collins and some of those foundational pieces to get a bigger asset. You got to surround him with somebody. You got to get Trey some help.
We'll see what happens next year. Like you said, I mean, last year I think the cards just lined up perfectly for them, and I think that was obviously shocking to a lot of the league how deep they made it. But Trey's a great player, but he's got to step it up in big moments in the future.
And I think you need
more help. He needs more help.
I think you need to surround him with shooters and guys that can cut while he's dissecting a pick and roll, because we know if Trey has options, whether it's a wide open three and someone can make it for him, or because I feel if Trey gets inside and gets his floater out, it's impossible to guard. He makes it all the time. But he just needs some help, some spacing, and maybe a better pick and roll guy. Who knows? Maybe they look at what's going on in Utah, and you get a guy like Rudy Gobert. Now him and Trae Young working together, that's going to be Lob City there for sure, because they're going to make sure that they get Rudy Gobert going with Trae Young, lobbing him the ball up. I would love to see that move, honestly, considering what's going on in Utah. And mind you, Donovan Mitchell only has like as many probably has the lowest attempts giving the ball to Gobert. I think he had passed him the ball maybe 60 times this entire season.
Yeah.
It's not a lot.
That'd be interesting to see.
But that's just me talking. But they definitely gotta look around.
Yeah, they do for sure. Another team now moving forward that might have a bright future. They have a good core group of guys, and they look like they're, coming into the postseason, they looked like they had some things together this whole season, and that was the Chicago Bulls, man. They looked like a solid team most of the year. In big moments against great teams, they could never pull it out, though, it seemed, throughout the season. And that's exactly what happened here against the Milwaukee Bucks in this series, losing in 5 games, 4-1. And final game, 116-100 was the score tonight on Wednesday. And Giannis had 33 points. Giannis is Giannis. You're not going to be able to stop him. And that's kind of the situation I'm talking about. Just real quick with Trey, it's like, you're not going to stop Giannis. Trey can get to that point, I think, but he's got to get there, right? Giannis, whatever the defense shows Giannis, you're not going to stop.
I think Giannis and Trey are two different players.
They're way different players. Of course, he has the size, he has the build, all that stuff that Trey doesn't have. But just big time moments, Giannis is always going to be there. And moving into the next series, he's going to be there again, and he really might be tough, there in the championship, man.
It's going to be tough.
Who are they playing? Is it set yet?
Yes. So
yeah, they're playing Boston. Yeah.
And let me tell you, in 2018, these two teams met each other, although different circumstances, of course. Jason Tatum was a rookie. Yeah. Giannis was still getting his feet wet in the playoffs and, building his confidence to a championship level. And you know, that Celtics team, they defeated Giannis and the Bucks. And I feel like obviously Jaylen Brown has gotten a lot better since 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum has gotten significantly better since 5 years ago. He's definitely there at superstardom. And like you mentioned to me earlier, you can argue he's top five right now.
Yeah.
And
Marcus Smart has gotten tremendously better since 5 years ago as well.
yeah, and all these guys are clicking together. They brought back Al Horford. They brought in Derek White from San Antonio, which was a very underrated pickup that they got in the trade deadline. He's a very efficient player, and this team is just meshing well at the right time, and they have everyone healthy. That's the most important part.
Yeah.
Whereas the Bucks are without Chris Middleton, which is very big for them.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Giannis is playing like he's hurt or anything, but not he's been like watching having a watchful eye on his knee. And I'm not saying it's gonna affect him in any way because I think Giannis will still get his 30, but I think this is gonna be a really tough challenge, and his teammates are really gonna have to step up for him.
I think it'll go 7 games, man. I mean, the Celtics Bucks should go 7 games. It's gonna
I throw up in my mouth a little bit, but I got Boston in 6.
Okay. I don't know who will win that, honestly. My gosh. The absence of Chris Middleton could be the thorn in the side of the Bucks, like you're saying. Giannis has proven that he can carry a team by himself, and he has a great core group of guys around him. It's not like he's alone at all.
And all those guys that he has on his team are at least 5 or 6 of them are still part of that championship core.
Yeah.
Brook Lopez, obviously Giannis, Drew Holiday, Bobby Portis. I'm probably missing a guy here or there, but they have a good core. And then Grayson Allen, he played tremendous in this series against the Bulls. And speaking of the Bulls, the writing was on the wall for them. Like you just mentioned, 5 minutes ago, they were 0-16 against the top seeded teams in I guess each conference. So if they weren't, and then they also had a really rough post All-Star break.
They did.
And their only hope to making it even to a second round was to be at least a top 4 seeded team, and they didn't get there this year, thus being placed against a top 4 team.
Yeah.
And there was just no chance. And then on top of that, you didn't have Lonzo Ball. He was out the rest of the season. That was a big part of their first half success. Zach LaVine didn't play because of COVID protocols in the last game. And you didn't have Alex Caruso because he got hurt again. And mind you, Caruso was going back and forth with injuries. I think he had a hamstring injury, a wrist injury because of that dirty play with Grayson Allen, and then another injury in this series that sat him out in the last game.
Well, yeah, the Bulls throughout the season were such a wishy-washy team due to injuries. But DeRozan had a career year. He had a great year as a solo player. Lonzo, like you said, hit a stride. Caruso kind of hit a stride. The Bulls have somewhat of a good future looking ahead. I think they have a solid shot in the next 4 or 5 years or so to put together something, as long as they can keep DeRozan on the team. We've known how he's kind of bounced around in recent years. As long as they can keep these guys together and try to add a couple more pieces. But the East is stacked, as we know. The East is just absolutely stacked.
Yeah.
So the Bucks prevail and move on, and they're going to take on Boston next series, which is going to be one of the best series.
Get your popcorn out. I think these, at least in the East Coast, we're going to see some of the greatest series in playoff history.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I absolutely can't wait, and I hope I'm not working for a single game. I hope I can catch every game. But now let's move on. Yeah, at least I work where I can watch the game, even if I am working. Let's move on to the last game of the three that we're covering, or the last series of the three that we're covering tonight. Warriors Nuggets, again, a series that ended in 5 games, 4-1. Warriors.
It was a tough 4-1 though.
What?
It was a tough 4-1. It might look simple on paper, but they put up a fight. They put up a fight.
They definitely put up a fight. It was there was a lot of signs looking towards that they were going to get swept until that fourth game, where Jokic, was like, we did not deserve to get swept that game. So a gentleman's sweep is what it was for the Nuggets. And man, the Warriors look scary. I'll just say that they look terrifying in the West Coast, and I'm a West Coast fan, and my team is in the playoffs right now on the West Coast. They look scary, man. Like you were talking about in our previous video, that starting lineup is terrifying. I mean, Curry is Curry, right? Draymond is Draymond, and Clay is Clay. We've known those guys for so long, but what the Warriors were able to do in the absence of these guys to build almost a second team that could be contenders without these guys.
Whoa. Slow down, Landon.
In the next
not
few
contenders.
years.
Not contenders.
I'm just saying
I think
what they've done with these guys, man.
I think they got some foundational, but they definitely have some foundational pieces with Kuminga and Poole, and who knows what happens with Wiseman, and Wiggins is there, but
that's what I'm saying. What they've done with Wiggins,
they've got without those three guys, they're a solid 8-seed team.
They're like the Bulls right now. That they're like middle of the road without them. But like what I'm saying is how they were able to not just totally fall off the wagon.
Yes.
Without these guys.
Build pieces around them, so when they came back, they would have what like their moniker was in 2015, strength in numbers, because they can go at least 1 to 10 in the playoffs. They have Kevon Looney, they got Draymond Green, they got Jordan Poole, who's been sensational, Clay, Steph, Iggy, Juan Toscano Anderson, Gary Payton the third or the second. They go deep. Valencia or something like that. Agenza. I don't know how to say his name. I'm ruining his name, but yeah, they got a solid team, and it wasn't easy these last 2 games, and then I think Jordan Poole came back down to earth a little bit, but Steph controlled that game from the third quarter on tonight, and was impossible to guard from the 3-point line. He's just like, anytime he had at least a second, he was making it. There's just no way. And unfortunately for the Nuggets, this is gonna be a first round exit for them, and their MVP. This is probably the first time it's happened since that MVP has gone home in the first round since let me see your shirt. I think he used to play for that team. Oh, actually, you know what? It was actually Westbrook. Westbrook got eliminated in the first round.
All right.
I just had to throw that Dirk Nowitzki thing there.
Well,
remember that? And then the same time, it was Golden State that ended up sending home that MVP that year.
I'm all right, man. I'm good. I'm still living in 2011 when we swept you guys, so I'm chilling. Anyway, I think it definitely would have been the first time an MVP got swept in the first round, and Jokic should not want that to happen, right? That would have been embarrassing. But against a team like the Warriors, it's tough, but I mean, it wasn't a lack of effort. The first 2 games, there was a big differential in the score. The Warriors really just dominated the first 2 games. But then those last 3, very close. And obviously the 4th game that Denver did win, but those last 3 games are just up for grabs. And had the outcome been any different, we would have been looking at a game 7 coming up. So
Yeah.
it's,
You know what? Jokic can only do so much.
yeah,
And, he put up a valiant effort. I think he was like 30, 18, and like 8 tonight. Fucking insane.
yeah,
And, you know, this team coming up, although a first round exit for them, granted, they don't have their two other best players. This team is going to be right there with Golden State next year in the second round.
yeah.
And it's going to be between them, the Clippers, and the Warriors next year. And who knows what happens in the off season, which players go where and whatnot. But things are looking like next year in the West is going to be once again a wild, wild West, because it's going to be very hard to figure out who's going to be the next king
Yeah.
of this conference. But right now, it looks like, to me, the Warriors, it's their conference to lose this year.
It is, yeah. And with the Suns looking a little worse and worse, and Booker's injury, it's really the Warriors to lose this year, like you said. Real quick, Jokic averaged 31 points a game in these playoffs, 13 rebounds a game. Two games he had over 15 rebounds, including tonight he had 19. Just, we know what Jokic can do, and he did what he can do. But not enough.
Man, it's going to be a different story once he gets Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. back.
Yeah.
We're going to be having a whole different discussion. We'll probably be talking about them going potentially into a finals.
I would love to see it. I'd be excited to see it. Just the landscape of basketball is amazing. When you think about these players, when you think about these teams, the next team, you could think about a team, right? And like, oh, they're contenders. The very next team you think about could easily beat them. And then the next team could beat them. And dude, we are just living in an age of amazing NBA basketball right now, with stars to go around on every team, great players to go around on every single team. And in the East, we're stacked right now, right? In the West, it's looking like the Warriors and the Suns are amazing right now, but right on their tails are the Grizzlies, are the Nuggets, are the Mavericks. We have so many players that are just a smidge away from being contenders.
Yeah, and you didn't even mention the Clippers, who don't even have Paul George or Kawhi Leonard.
Yep. It's awesome.
And the Pelicans team, I mean, I'm not saying that next year they'll make the playoffs, but considering everything happening in Utah, they might just take over that spot that Utah has always had these last few years.
Yeah.
And wishful thinking as a Laker fan, we actually build a team that's gonna.
They'll be back. Yeah, they'll be back in the next couple of years for sure. They will.
You still got one of the best players in the world in LeBron. I would argue he's probably still top 10, maybe out of that list. But LeBron was definitely, and this goes to show you, like, people don't realize he was playing without his second best player this whole time, and it was definitely hard for him to even get some wins without AD in the lineup. So, why am I talking about the Lakers? They're not even the fucking playoffs. Point is though, if we build something between hopefully AD being healthy and LeBron being healthy, and maybe trading away Westbrook for something, anything. It could be a bag of chips. The bag of chips is not going to turn over the ball as much as fucking Westbrook.
Trade LeBron, man. Trade LeBron.
I don't think you can. It's bad for business.
For LeBron, dude. Just trade him.
I think already, I don't think the Lakers will be in the playoffs next year. There's just like so much turmoil in that situation. But point is, though, the West is deep, and so many teams are going to, want to come for it. And, if the Suns don't have this opportunity because of Devin Booker, they're going to come back next year upset and ready for the playoffs. But, probably take their time doing it, because I think they might have overdone it by trying to be the best team in the league.
Which is what they did this year. They came with a
yeah. That's what I'm saying. That it came down. It came to bite them. And
something's got to happen quick though with the Suns team. It's like Chris Paul has only so many years left, and
I think next year is their last hope.
Yeah,
with Chris
something's
Paul.
got to give quickly for the current Suns team. Not to say that they can't add a good piece again around Booker, because and Ayton, they're both great players, and stay in this conversation. But with
there's
a
not
lot
too
of
many Chris Pauls out in the market every year.
No,
There's not a lot of those guys.
It's gonna be tough to fill those shoes.
But we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
with Denver, you know, if I'm a Denver fan, I'm not mad. We fought better than getting swept. And I just know next year, the fucking NBA is in trouble. We got the back-to-back MVP. We got Jamal Murray coming back and Michael Porter Jr. coming back. And we still got guys on our depth chart like Monte Morris, Bones Highland, Aaron Gordon, Will Barton, and Boogie Cousins. He played very well tonight as Jokic's backup. And when you get all those guys back and as a unit, man, that's a deep team. And I don't know how they're gonna figure it out, but they might just have to make a few tweaks here and there. But they have a championship team. They're just next year's their year, potentially.
Not with the Mavs around. Anyway, so that was our review over these three series.
The Mavs are still in the playoffs. I forgot about those guys. That's probably, and I'm not just saying this as a hater. I think that's the least interesting playoff series the first round is Dallas and Utah, because no one gives a fuck about Utah.
Well, yeah, no one gives a fuck about Utah, but we got the Mavs, and tomorrow night we'll be making a video, probably reviewing all three of the games. I think all three of the series that happen tomorrow are going to end. Actually, no. The Raptors are going to beat the Sixers. Sorry, the Raptors will beat the Sixers, but the Pelicans will end the series and the Mavs will end the series tomorrow.
Well,
or the Suns. Sorry, jeez.
Yeah, the Pelicans cannot end the series, but
my brain is so fogged right now, bro.
I believe. I'm praying Doc Rivers does not fucking blow this 3-0 lead, bro, and lose a. Oh my god! And James Harden has been awful. He is not the same guy anymore.
Yeah.
But I think the Pelicans extend this next game. I think you need Mikal Bridges to have a 30-point game like he did last night.
Yeah.
Because Chris Paul, he can only do so much every game. Like that's what we're seeing in this series is Chris Paul has one great game. The second game, he comes out and stinks it up because he's probably tired and old. So, Chris Paul had a very great game last night. So I think for me, the outcome next week or tomorrow is going to be another victory for the Pelicans. And I think we'll see a coin toss for Game 7. And I think that's anyone's game there.
Wow. That would be absolutely insane if the Suns go out in the first round to the Pelicans. I don't think
the first time in a 8 seed's beaten the first 1 seed since the Mavericks got beaten by the Golden State Warriors as a first seed.
All right, man.
They also had the best record in the NBA that year too. How about that?
We're good, bro. We're good. I'm chilling. We're gonna end the series this year. I don't care about the past, except for if you're talking about 2011.
I'm just saying that's a very, very that would be a very bad coincidence for the Suns to join that list.
Okay, well then I want the Pelicans to win, so that way the Suns can overshadow that.
Well, there you go. I think the Pels win Game 6 and Game 7 is a coin toss. I think you can go the Suns or the Pelicans. I don't want to bet on Chris Paul in the game 7 because he's clutch,
Yeah.
but man, he's gonna have to give it all, and that all might injure him.
Ooh.
But and then that young team is hungry, but we'll see. All right, yeah.
Whatever happens, either of those teams lose to the Mavs in round 2. Let's go. Thank you so much for watching this video. We'll have plenty more coming up very soon. Lots more to debate about. As you can see, we don't like each other when it comes to our teams that we like. So we got a lot to debate about. But this was the NBA playoff review. We did these 3 series, and we got 3 more coming up that are scheduled to end very soon. They could either go tomorrow or go to Game 7. But either way, we'll see you guys very soon with more reviews on the playoffs. And man, just such fun basketball. I'm excited to keep watching and excited to keep making more videos about it. So appreciate you, C's. Thank you, and catch you guys on the next one.